Adaora had always been a woman of simple desires. She wanted love, stability, and a partner who would stand by her side through thick and thin. When she met Chike, the charming owner of a boutique in the heart of the city, she thought her prayers had been answered. His smooth words, gentle touch, and attentive nature made her feel like she was the only woman in the world. And not quite long into the relationship, they married. Life was perfect, or so it seemed. Welcome back to this amazing channel. And if you're visiting for the first time, be sure to subscribe for more interesting and value-adding stories. But 3 weeks into their marriage, everything changed. Adaora had always trusted Chike completely, never suspecting that the man she married was hiding a terrifying secret. It began with small things, odd phone calls late at night, the strange way he looked at her when she asked him about his day, and the moment when he would disappear for hours. But what truly shook her to the core was the discovery that her husband wasn't who he appeared to be. One afternoon, while he was away, Adaora decided to go through some of his belongings. Her heart skipped a beat when she found a blood-stained shirt tucked away in the closet. The evidence sent chills down her spine. Her curiosity led her to search further, and what she found next was even more horrifying. A blood-stained cutlass hidden in a box under the table in their bedroom, a gun, and a white powdered substance which she assumed to be a hard drug wrapped inside the box. It was clear that her husband wasn't just a boutique owner, he was a criminal, much worse than she could ever have imagined. Adaora tried to confront him when he returned to demand clear answers, but Chike was one step ahead. He beat her up for searching his belongings while he was away and locked her in a separate room in the apartment he had refused to open these past weeks, tying her hands, legs, and mouth to keep her from speaking out. As the hours passed, she realized the true extent of his crimes. His boutique, which she had believed was legitimate, was a front for his drug-dealing operation. The walls in the apartment seemed to whisper of the darkness he had hidden from her, murder, deceit, and terror. She couldn't believe it. The man she had married was a serial killer, a drug dealer, and a monster. Her mind raced, but fear held her frozen. As the days passed, Chike grew more distant. His behavior became erratic, and Adaora began to realize the worst. He had planned to kill her. Meanwhile, the neighbors who hadn't seen Adaora for a while began to grow suspicious. They've seen Chike acting strangely, and a few of them, particularly one observant neighbor, Dr. Oke, a psychologist, started to piece together the puzzle. Dr. Oke's instinct told him something wasn't right. His suspicions grew when he noticed the odd behavior of Chike, who seemed overly nervous when questioned about his wife's whereabouts. One day, as Chike drove off to pick up a substance he intended to use to kill Adaora, Dr. Oke decided to investigate. He cycled around the apartment complex, his sharp eyes scanning for anything out of place. As he peered into one of the windows, he saw a shadow moved inside, followed by the faint sound of someone struggling. His heart raced. He immediately called the police. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. As the officers arrived at the apartment, Chike pulled back into the driveway, oblivious to the fact that his world was about to crumble. The police approached him calmly, asking about Adaora. He stammered, telling them she had gone on a trip, but his nervousness gave him away. One of the officers, sensing something was off, noticed a small nylon bag in Chike's hand. Inside, they found the substance he had planned to use on Adaora. The officers' suspicion grew as they demanded to search the house. Chike hesitated, but the police didn't wait for his approval. They forced their way inside. What they found next was a nightmare. Adaora, bound and gagged, was lying on the floor in a small, dark room. Bloodstains covered the floor and walls. Her body was bruised, but her eyes, full of terror and disbelief, lit up when she saw the police. The officers quickly untied her, and she fell into their arms, sobbing in relief. The neighbors who had gathered outside watched in shock as Chike was handcuffed and led away by the police. They couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. The charming boutique owner, the man they had all admired, was a cold-blooded killer. As the police interrogated him, they uncovered the full extent of his criminal activities. He had been operating a drug ring and using his boutique as a front. He had killed before, and he had planned to make Adaora his next victim. But thanks to the observant neighbors, especially Dr. Oke, the truth came to light before it was too late. Adaora was finally free, but her life would never be the same. The man she had loved and trusted was a monster, and her world had been shattered in ways she could never have imagined. Yet, in the midst of the horror, she found hope. The hope that even in the darkest moments, there are people who cared, people who saw beyond the surface and fought for justice. As the police led Chike away, Adaora, surrounded by kind-hearted neighbors, took a deep breath. Her nightmare was over, and she was finally safe. Thank you for watching.